Yo, YouTube, what's going on? Black Phoenix here, bringing you the YouTube video, another YouTube video. And as promised, start of the resolution, we are starting off with the New England Patriots playbook. A lot of you are asking why not the Denver Broncos. I thought you said that was next. So check it out. I got a little bit of a backstory before we begin this breakdown. So during my live stream on Twitch yesterday, I asked you, the viewers, what would you like to see? Would you like me to go in alphabetical order? Or would you like to see me break down the popular playbooks first and then get to the lesser known ones later on? And the general consensus is that everybody wanted to see the popular playbooks first. So that's what we decided to do. We're going to shake up the order here. We are starting off with the Patriots, and then after this, you'll be seeing the Cards, you'll be seeing the Chiefs, and then you'll be seeing the Browns. So remember that order: Patriots, Patriots, Cards, Chiefs, Browns. And then that should take care of a good number of the popular playbooks these days in Madden 16 right now. So a little bit of backstory also with the Patriots playbook. I used to run this offense solely at the beginning of Madden season. I thought the Patriots playbook is probably still one of the top offenses in the game due to split close and a couple other things that people do not use in this playbook that should be used. However, with people running so much split close, I kind of got bored of running this book personally. So I decided to stop running it and then focus on a different offense. I think I use the running gun offense right now at this time. So as a former user of this book, I can definitely give you a lot of knowledge and stuff like that of how to run this to the maximum ability that people do not really pay attention to in this book. So, personnel-wise, let's just get it started. Personnel-wise, you want to have, if you're going to run the Patriots, you're going to run a pocket passer more so than a mobile QB or a dual threat, mainly because there's no read options, there's no pistol plays, there's no type of plays or formations that really utilize the mobile QBs or a quarterback with legs. Do you want somebody with legs? Yes, because you actually want to scramble. But for this particular Patriots book, a pocket passer works just fine, just like in real life with Tom Brady. Receiving core, it really is up to you on this one because there's a certain number of sets where or formations where a speed receiver may be utilized more so than a possession receiver, and then vice versa, possession more so than a speed. So it really is what you value more. But I will say this, for this particular playbook, route running is key. For those that don't know, the threshold to run your routes crisp and to shake off coverage a lot of times is to have that 95 plus route running. So players, like if you're running in mud, you would see somebody like Antonio Brown, Sterling Sharp, Jordy Nelson, Hines Ward is another one. Just those type of people with high route running ability to separate themselves from the defenders. Another thing in the personnel is you obviously want a receiving tight end that can also block. So similar to a Gronkowski, obviously he's the best example to use in this one. If you're running a receiver at tight end, Brandon Marshall is probably the closest bet that you want to a Gronk. Obviously, he doesn't have the route running that you could have with Hines Ward at tight end, but I feel like for this particular situation, how I would run it, you definitely want Gronk, or excuse me, you want a Brandon Marshall to substitute in for Gronk if you don't have him, and he works perfectly well. So let's start off with the breakdown itself. You have 8 single back formations. You have jumbo pair, ace, ace overload, twins, bunch, normal Patriots, or doubles. And then you have wide trips and then tight slots. So starting off with single back jumbo pair, the only one that I would really consider running out of this one is probably the halfback diving stick. I'm not a big fan of the motion ones with halfbacks on strong and halfback misdirection weak. I don't like those in particular. The PA power roll is decent if you get some time and the guys are sitting in the house at you. And sometimes the power roll is very hit or miss depending on the blocking, but more so times it's more miss. The halfback belly week is actually not a bad one if you can follow your blockers the right way. Your guys get out there and get some blocks and put body on bodies and stuff like that. Ace, probably still one of the better sets in the game, just very underutilized this year. Z-spot is a good one to call. I like the halfback toss crack out of this one. Flanker drive is also not a bad one too. I would take the comeback route out of this out of the play because the comeback routes aren't as good this year as in previous Maddens. Corner strike and levels divide are also good plays for you to have in as well. And also the ever popular ace post is definitely another one you should utilize. And also tight end cross, another one too that you can utilize to accentuate your ace single back ace game here. On the ace overload, the good thing about this one is the fact that your backup offensive lineman will be lining up right here where Cameron Fleming is. The main thing you will probably want to run is misdirections and smash plays. Everything else, I mean, if you plan on passing for this, I don't recommend it because your left tackle is considered a receiver in this one, especially from the PAL left tackle sneak. So unless you have a good left tackle that has some catching ability, I would definitely more so run out of this set than pass. The good thing too is when you actually call this formation to it, they consider it as heavy. They don't show up as offensive or like a one running back, two wide receivers, two tight ends type of thing. It's just considered heavy. So that could throw your opponent off if he's not ready for it and not expecting it. They do have the ace pair of twins here. Pat's one like go is a pretty good play. U drive is an excellent play to beat cover two if you know how to adjust the hot routes the right way. I do like the PA power roll out of this particular set just because with the curl route on the left side and then obviously the blue motion that you can hot route to make it a different route. It makes the play a little bit more effective, have a little bit more pop in it. Inside cross, halfback zone weak, and then once again PA cross shots not too bad. As well as a halfback stretch could get you some yards depending on how their blocking goes. Out of the bunch ace, probably one of the better sets in the game in my mind. PA fork shot is probably your best bet to beat that cover four. As you see a lot of people playing cover four on you. Inside zone split is pretty good. Drive I like a lot. Z spot tight end angle, halfback quick pitch. Can get you some good yards if you get the blocking to go the right way. Z spot is another good one, tight end angle, and then the Z option with those option routes. If you guys remember from my run and shoot playbook breakdown, quick skim over that, that's probably one of the more deadlier plays because depending on what the defense calls and where the personnel and defense is, your receiver will run the route according to what they see. So I say it's probably one of the most underutilized concepts in the game, just wide receiver option routes. You have PA end around, but I mean, again, it's not nearly as effective as it was last year in Madden 15. So out of the singleback normal Patriots, you have the PA draw shot, which seems to be a popular place. If you see a singleback doubles, that's most likely what they're going to be calling here. The pass halfback slash isn't bad. Once again, it depends on their blocking. PA slot out is actually not too bad. I actually do like this formation, or excuse me, not this formation, this play. Probably would do something with a little bit of the high routes, mainly with the tight end on this blue and the running back on this check and release curl. Try to switch it up a little bit. Zone weak isn't too bad as a run. Deep attack is actually a pretty good play. FL Metal saw the same thing as PA draw shot, except without the play action, and then you also have things you could do with the running back and tight end on this one. Whip under is not a bad one, and then slot hook is another good one. Double moves on the right side, curls to sit right in that sweet spot of the zone, and also a backside route with the in route. I believe that's like a 10 and in and stuff like that. So that's another not too bad. Wide receiver dragon Z spot or another pair of good passing plays if you decide to pass from this formation. I don't like the toss crack out of this one because of the angle the right receiver takes to block. So that's just something to keep in mind as you're calling your plays and going through your playbooks. Out of the wide trips, once again, PA draw shot comes into play. You got the boot to the right. You have flood. You have four verts, smash. Just very simple stuff the wide receiver post is actually not a bad play call in this one as well if you get the right defense to look at. Now, this is one of the more underrated play formations in the game, is that single back tight slots, which adds on to how strong the Patriots book actually is, because I think it's them, and I think it's the Saints. If I'm wrong, correct me in the comment section below. But I think it's one of those two books that are the only ones that really have this, and the Panthers as well too. But the tight slots is probably one of the more power formations in the game. Starting off with stick and have that cutback, you can definitely do some damage out of that one. The draw actually isn't bad out of this formation. Believe it or not, the draw is actually pretty darn good. The PA wide shot, if you mess with our audibles, that could be a good play. Bench, obviously, if they're playing a lot of zone, they're playing man-to-man, that could be obviously useful. Flood, drag crossovers is an excellent play. Halfback wheel is probably one of the more popular play calls out of this formation. Just very tough to stop. Commit a lot of resources to stopping those type of routes, and then even if you do stop it, it's no guarantee that the other routes will get open on the running back in the backfield gets open and stuff like that. So very, very tough play to stop. The I formations, you have three of them. You have Pro, you have the halfback blast, which is probably one of the better runs in the game. I don't like the power O from this one particularly too much, but it can still be a good run if you get some good blocks. PA power O, obviously, and PA says are most likely play action plays that you're going to be seeing. You see somebody in I-form. Pro halfback toss is a fan favorite. Fullback dive, you see it every game these days in Madden. And the seam 6, 7, 8 is basically PA scissors without the play action. Um, so there's your options that I would call the Pro Twins. You kind of got like a little smash concept with the Y cop. You do have the inside cross, which isn't too bad out of here. PA draw shot is okay. I do like the power roll out of twin sets a lot more than any other I-form set in the game, just because what you can do out of that. PA sail, weak flood, fullback dive once again, and toss and stretch are not bad play calls at all. Pads do have strong pro like they've always had in years past. Off tackle is probably your best run to come out in. And then I think you can audible to a halfback dive. PA scissors, once again, you guys already know how to run that. Pat's Y option is actually not a bad play call. You got the corner route, or you got the C route, halfback angle, and then you have the post route as followed by the tight end on an option route. So very deadly to stop with a lot of resources to commit to stopping this play. And also you got the fullback who can actually go on a route if the player decides to do that. So just another thing to keep in mind as you're going along here. You got the Z motion plays, which aren't bad. They're okay. Halfback blast is another solid one that I would call. Spacing isn't too bad. NFL drive are also pretty good plays out of this as well. The weak close is probably one of the more underrated ones too. If you know, it doesn't have a lot of like wild knockout plays, but it's definitely a good mix-in formation to kind of throw your opponent off balance, especially if they see this. And if they're not really paying attention, they would think it's more strong close, but it's actually weak close. So just something to keep in mind as you're running and executing this play book. But anyways, for starters, you have bench switch. You do have the mesh. You do have PEA power O. Flanker drive is actually really good stock. I actually do like that a lot. Spacing, not so much out of this one. Inside zone is not too bad as a run. And then stick with the fullback on that table route going into the flats. It's actually not that bad if you know how to manipulate the routes and AI and stuff like that on defense. So that's just another idea for you to call. Now we get into the meat and potatoes of what everybody and their grandmother runs in Madden 16. And that is the split close Patriots. The difference between the regular split close and the Pats and the Browns one that you'll see later on the breakdown is the fact that the Patriots and Browns ones have the two running backs in the backfield as opposed to the regular split close, which has a tight end or a fullback. If you package in the if you do the fullback package, that way you can have two running backs in the backfield as well. Particularly with the Pats, though, a lot of people seem to call. I'm just gonna skip right ahead to the PA or not the PA. The halfback wheel, that's also a good cover 3 killer, cover 4 killer, cover 2 killer in some cases. So that's what you see a lot of times. That's the main play people call. The extract trail could be a lot of cover 4, can be some zones if you know how to work it the right way. PAY shot is another good one that's kind of underutilized that people really don't know how to exactly run. Y out, Y corner, and Z spots are also just very good plays, very good pass plays. And then if you feel good, a little bit gutsy about yourself, you can go with the halfback slip screen and stuff like that. And also mesh too is not a bad play for you to call. So a lot of things you can run out of this book, which is why it's so powerful and so tough to stop consistently. Gun ace, another one of those formations where it's very tough because of its balance. Inside zone, hitch corners, pads, tight end attack is very kind of tough if you know how to really utilize your hot routes. Corner strike, we already know how that goes. Inside cross and L1 trap is actually not too bad out of this set. Going into ace pair flex, one of their more unique formations in the game. I don't particularly like this formation too much because the passing plays are a little bit funky, but you can still do a lot of work if you know how to motion guys and once again utilize route combos. It's very, very good and difficult to stop if you really know what you're doing. But I particularly don't like this when I was running the Pats book. The main thing is your run audible is going to be your quick base, which can be hit or miss depending on how the blocking goes. If anything, motion your second tight end on the right side. So in this case, Scott Chandler, I would motion him to the left if you're planning on running the ball here. You do have the Pat smash stick, so that's not too bad. I do like the PA slot post, which isn't also, which actually is pretty good too. Cover, I feel like it's gonna be a cover 2 killer. Maybe not so much cover 3 killer, but maybe on the right side it could be a cover 3 killer. But just something to think about as it goes along. Tight end spot, dagger, X curl, slip screen. So those aren't too bad plays either. That's probably another one of your mixed informations. Gun doubles, inside zone. Everybody knows the run, how good it is this year. Halfback angle or one trap. PA read is actually not a bad play either. Halfback angle, I'm sorry. Under seams is one of those plays that can go either way. I know some people that run this play and they get a ton of yards off of it. I know some people that run it and they run it to stop a particular coverage. So a lot of things we do out there. Curl flats, another good one. I don't like the double sluggles. If you don't have the route running for double sluggles, it's not going to work. And even then, the double moves just aren't as good in Madden. Just never have been as good for me personally. So same thing with the double out and up. It's just not the same unless you got good route running. And it definitely is a zone killer, but you need a lot of time in the pocket for you to actually get those double moves to get open. So that's why I kind of tend to avoid it this year. Corner strike, Pat's wide seam, Z-spot, and flanker drive are also really good plays. Wide sail, shallow cross, one of my favorite plays. Skinny post, you got your like an ace post kind of concept going on both sides of the field there, so that's pretty cool. I think the gun doubles is probably another one of those power formations in the pass book. The normal wing pats, I do like the comeback Z post for what you can do on the right side of the field, and then your halfback on this little bit of an option kind of deal out of the backfield. That's kind of powerful. I do like the slip screen out of here. I think it's probably one of the better slip screens in the game. Switch work is another one. I prefer to run this flipped just because I like to see the field left or right. But if you have a left-handed quarterback, it definitely can benefit you to running this to the left. Inside cross is another one that's not too bad out of here as well. Tight double zone. So for those that love the tight compact sets, one way to beat man-to-man coverage is definitely go into like something like this where it's just like very compressed. Very hard to stop. For this particular formation, bench, pivot, forward, flood, drive. I do like the PA wide receiver cross out of here. Z spot, quick bases. You're going to be I think your run audible, if not the draw. Tight curl is another one. Off tackle, I'm not the biggest fan of personally, just because I don't believe that it's really good from a tight set. So just something to keep in mind. Cross wheels is another one to beat man, beat zone. Halfback option is a very, very good play too if you get some time in the pocket to run that. This right here, this formation that I'm about to describe right here is the most underused formation in the past that I'm surprised, to be honest, that isn't getting a lot more love personally. And it's because of the fact that you can do so much out of this formation by just either leaving it stock or just fixing up your hot routes. But the main thing you want to keep if you're going to run this formation is to keep that left side wide receiver motion, because what's going to happen a lot of times is that your opponent is going to get so used to it that it may be a pass. You can run out of this with a pass halfback sweep. But if you have, this is where I say the route running comes in key for this particular formation, is if you pay attention to the routes that are going on in these plays, they're requiring a lot of route running, specific routes and stuff like that to beat man-to-man, beat zone. And it's very, very tough to stop it because you can come out in this Patriots corner or PA cross or PA spot, and your opponent can see the left side receiver running, but he never can pinpoint, or he or she can never pinpoint exactly what play is going to be. So I'm very surprised that this doesn't get utilized a lot more. I used to run this formation a lot, definitely for more mix in, but this is probably like a mainstay formation, if anything. So if you get a chance, definitely look into this formation a lot. Lab it, concept, come up with some route concept. But the main thing, again, leave this left side receiver that's in this red, that's in the red here. Leave him as is. Don't change his route. Don't do anything. If anything, change the routes from the other receivers, your running back, your tight end, and the right side receiver. That's probably the only thing I would change. But let's just break down the plays here. You got the Patriots corner, once again, zone killer in my mind. Z-spot, another type of man killer, zone killer. Same thing with the Z-spot. See, Patriots drive, Patriots drag. Once again, man-to-man beating plays. So just something to keep in mind as you're just, once again, labbing this one. Yeah, the pass wing trips, or AKA U-trips, is probably one of the better U-trips in the game. Pass Y out, pass Y cross. If they're running a lot of cover 3, cover 4, it definitely is just a killer to run this play to pass cross. Just because you got the speed out on the left side, especially if you have some guy with like a speedy kind of guy, like Deshaun Jackson, Brandon Cooks. Those guys will excel well in that particular set. So I would substitute those guys on the left-hand side and then worry about the rest of the stuff on the right-hand side for later on, depending on what your personnel is. Pass drag wheels, another good one. PA fork, another good one. Y option wheel mesh, scat. Pat slot out is very, very good if you know how to manipulate the routes on that one. Stutter curl, doubles in, tight end whip, doubles unders, and corners. And the halfback slugger are also very good. Tight end deep out in the 5-6 trap is probably your run audible out of this one. So it's not too bad, but it's not too great either. Curl flats, another good one that you can run out of here. Trips tight end, one of the more popular sets in the game. PA shot wheel, everybody knows about that play. Man-to-man killer, zone killer, very tough to stop in general. Pat's wide post, halfback quick base. I think that's your run audible, if not the draw. PA slot corner, another good one. Pat's wide in, drive post, verts, curl flat, halfback angles, inside cross. Slot swing is okay. Probably wouldn't run it, and maybe just mixing it every now and then, but I don't think it's very good. Gun butt tweak, another one that's popular this year in Madden. Not so much last year, but this year is really taking an increase in usage this year. Pat Sales, probably one of the best plays that they have out of here. Halfback base isn't too bad. Pat's curl flat is a really good one. Very good cover 4 beater. Inside cross, 518 hook, corner strike, curls attack, and mesh. Just very tough to stop in general. In this one, you had the gun normal wide slot, PA tight end wheel. Under Y option, deep attack, slot outs, PA wide receiver in, X follow, PA comeback, Z shallow cross, and the Y stick as your guys here. Trips wise ISO, this is why I say you want to have that Gronkowski, Brandon Marsh to go one-on-one with a corner and then just, either aggressive catch or fade routes in the end zone, things like that. You want to have somebody like that out there. Smash Y fade, probably one of still the better inside the red zone or in the red zone type of plays you could call. PA deep outs, base, curl, stutter, flat or slant flats, forward verts, counter, inside cross, inside dig is actually not too bad with the halfback on his purple route right there. Mesh dig isn't bad, but I particularly don't like it. The only thing I really don't like is this who's ever remember Julian Edelman's route here, where he has that option to either stop or keep going. That messes me up a lot of times because I'm expecting, and sometimes he stops, and when I'm expecting him to keep going, he keeps going when I expect him to stop. So very, very tricky. If anything, it's just probably just audible into a slant or a drag to really fix that and remedy that. The Ace Patriot, another one that's really tough to stop because of the personnel that you come out in one wide receiver, 2 tight ends, and 2 running backs. Pat Excellent is probably one of the best plays we could call out here since Madden 15. Pat Seam is another good one. Empty stick now is not bad. Clear out is not bad. Corner strike, tight end shake, and spacing is probably where you want to go. However, if you feel like going empty base and true empty set here, I think this is probably one of the better ones in the game. It's not as good as the regular empty base, but it can still get you some pretty good yards. Middle, high, low is probably the best play out of here, as well as a shallow cross and a strong curl. And that's pretty much it for that one. So on that note, guys, once again, we recapped the Pats book. One of the best playbooks in the game of Madden 16. One of the more powerful sets. Probably, definitely top 5 in my mind. So I know it's been a long breakdown, but I hope you got as much information out of it as possible. And you can see why people love the Pats book as a popular playbook this year in Madden. If you have any questions, please leave them down in the comment section. I'll try to respond to those as best as I can. And once again, after this playbook, we'll be seeing the Arizona Cardinals playbook, one of the more popular playbooks in the game of Madden, and possibly the best offense in the game of Madden. So stay tuned for that. On that note, guys, I'll see you guys in the next playbook breakdown. On that note, guys, peace. 5 Gs.